Welcome back to Panther Pod, the podcast where we interview your most requested guest here on campus. I'm your host, Max Ortiz, and this is your co-host,
Mauricio Aguilar. And today we're here with our special guest, Miss Chess, who is a superstar parent and works really closely with the school. Glad to have you here.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
So, what do you do on campus mainly?
Mainly, I advocate for parents. So I joined the School Site Council, which is the SSC, which handles the money of the school. I joined JAC, which is the Jordan Action Committee, which makes a lot of the procedural decisions for the school. I joined the PTA, which is the Parent-Teacher Association. But actually, we had to change it to Parent-Teacher-Student Association because students are also supposed to be in there. So, yeah.
So how does this program, or basically your work field, impact the school?
So here at the school, I advocate for the parents, and I am trying to make sure the parents understand what is going on at the school, and oftentimes parents feel left out of things that's happening because as teenagers, they don't always share with their parents what's going on. So I'm trying to help the parents know, like, we have a lot of the say-so of what goes on here. We actually are supposed to help make the decisions for the school. So that's pretty much what I do on a daily basis.
When did you start?
I started here when my son was in the 9th grade. He's now in the 11th.
So parents are supposed to be you believe that parents are meant to be as involved with the school as the students and teachers?
Well, if you remember back when you were elementary school, you often seen a lot of parents at the school.
Yeah.
And usually that fades off the older you get, because a lot of times us as parents, we forget that as you get older, you still need parent involvement. So I'm trying to help parents to understand that it's not just elementary school that you guys need support, but you also need support in high school.
So do you believe that all parents should be as involved with the school as you are?
See, but that's a tricky question. So I wouldn't say as involved as me because
You're really involved.
I'm very involved, but
Yeah.
I feel like every parent needs to have an idea of what's going on at their child's school and be able to have a voice. So every parent should be able to say, I don't like that that's going on, and be able to communicate with the teacher right away and have that teacher respond back. And not always have to go to the counselor or, and know who your child's counselor is, because that's the person that helps the child to graduate from here. Know the administration, know the importance of the administration, know the funding of the school. I should know as a parent, I should know what everything is being spent on, because that's where my tax dollars is going to.
So Mauricio, I don't know about you, but for me, my parents are not involved with my school pretty much.
Mine either.
But it's mainly because, they don't speak English. So.
But that's the beautiful thing, because we have translations here. So that's not really a reason why you can't be involved, because everything is in Spanish and English. And there's a lot of parents that don't get involved because of their citizenship style, or they're nervous of other things. But in schools, that's not what the focus is. The focus is you guys, the kids. And that's what I want to get out to parents, that we're focused on your success. And it takes a village. There's a reason why they say it takes a village, because you guys require more than just your teachers. You require everybody's support to help you to succeed.
Since you've started, has the number of parents who are involved in the school increased?
Yes and no. So the one thing that I will say is since I started in 9th grade year, well, my son's 9th grade year, the staff is more receptive. So when I first started, a lot of the staff were like, oh, parents don't like to help. They're not really willing to get involved. But since I've started, I'm changing that culture, and that's why we're trying to rebrand Jordan, saying, no, parents do want to help. They just don't know that they can. They don't know that that's an option. So we're trying to get that out there, that it is an option. And so the reason why I say yes and no, because a lot of the parents that I started with in the 9th grade that were somewhat here, their kids actually have since graduated. So now we're recruiting new parents and going from there.
So how did you get involved with the school? Were you just often coming to check up on your child, and then at one point they just hired you, or how did you actually get hired by the school?
So actually, so I went to college, and I worked at Dominguez High School, which is right down the road.
Yeah.
And when I started having kids, I actually stopped working. So then I became a stay-at-home mom. So
Yeah.
I still have those skills of working in schools, and I still have my credentials. I have a counseling credential and everything. So I still have those skills. I just choose not to do that because I focus on my kids. So when I came here, I seen that there was a lot of things that were lacking. So I just decided to do it.
You decided to take up the responsibility.
Yeah.
What is one of the biggest problems like that you had in the school that you were able to like resolve?
I guess it's nothing that's resolved per se, because really it's still a work in progress. We're still trying to get it out there that parents need to be involved, that there's a lot of information that parents don't have. A lot of parents don't know about A through G. A lot of parents don't know the importance of doing dual enrollment. A lot of parents don't know the importance of a lot of the things that the school has to offer. Most of the stuff for your adulthood is all here that would transition you so you wouldn't have to pay for it when you're like 20, 25.
Me and Mauricio, we also know a lot of other per se mostly Mexican students that their parents don't get involved with school because, well, they don't speak the language and they don't exactly know how to get all the information across to their parents as efficiently. So what kind of recommendations would you have to students that or parents that you want them to get involved even though they don't speak the main language here and they don't really know how to get them involved?
Just to come to the school.
Just to bring them in?
Yeah, I mean, because honestly, there's not just Spanish here. There's Tongan. There's a lot of languages that's here, and we have people for all of them, but you won't know until you just come to the school.
Yeah.
Come to the school.
My parents, like, mainly, they're always, whenever I try to get them, mainly phone calls, whenever they want to call, like, my little brother's school, they always get me to talk to them because they never think that there's going to be a translator. So that's why it's really always difficult to try to get teachers and parents involved in such as trying to come.
Yeah. So if you know, we have a parent center here. Did you guys know that?
Nope. First time hearing this.
Okay, so there's a parent center here that's in room 208, and actually it's ran by a Latino man that actually went here. So he is fully bilingual. So he's the one that does all the translations and everything. So, and that was actually, and you know what's funny is that was the problem that I first had when my son was in the 9th grade. I would go to the PTA meeting, and the whole PTA meeting was only in Spanish. And that's why a lot of parents, other than Latinos, were in the PTA. Well, weren't in the PTA because they only spoke Spanish at our PTA meetings. So that's why when you say your parents couldn't talk, I'm sitting here like, I don't understand, because before I was here, they only did everything in Spanish pretty much.
That's crazy. I didn't know that.
Yeah. And then that's why now we're trying to be more inclusive. That's why we're working on rebranding, because it's for everybody. Not one specific culture should feel like it's only for them, because it's for everybody.
So in our little pre-interview, you told us that you went here, right?
Yes, I did.
How have you seen Jordan changed and Larissa since the last time you were here?
So I was here in 2001 is when I graduated. So the only new building that was here was the science building. This bungalow area did not exist. The bungalows were actually where the new buildings are. And that was like a big thing because that's the only new bungalows that we had. And when we were here, when I was here, it was like isolated. So Ames and IB were like their own little colony, and then it was everybody else.
Just in the general public, just getting electives and stuff?
Everybody else. So they took all different they took the car mechanics, they did home economics, we did driver's ed, but it wasn't after school. It's actually a course during school.
I know a couple of people who were wondering like why they shut down the mechanics part. Would you like to like explain to them why?
Why did they shut down the mechanics?
Yeah.
If you know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's like a debatable thing because they focus more on SLCs, and they were trying to target certain things that they thought were the most popular. And certain SLCs at the time when they introduced the SLCs were more popular than others. So then if you have high enrollment in this one and not in this one, they just tend to close the one that's not and then go with the one that's more popular.
Do you have any classes that were offered back when you used to come here that got shut down that you think would be helpful to have nowadays, or do you think should be reinstated?
Well, all the classes back when I was here should be reinstated, but that's like very difficult because the climate is different. When I was here, social media did not exist.
Yeah.
When I was here, the whole cell phone thing, like when I was here, pagers were just coming to someone, and you guys probably are not even as familiar with a pager.
Isn't it like you had it in your pocket and it beeps and there's like a little message on there?
See, that's what tells me I'm a little older, because, but it did a little bit. But it would have the phone numbers, then you had to find a phone. It was like more of an interesting thing. So the climate from when I was here is much different. You guys have social media and all the different things. Like you guys could text back and forth, and the teacher never hear you.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Us, we didn't have that. So it's hard to say, well, this was better than this, because honestly, if you were to do a lot of the stuff that was done back when I was here, it's not really as relevant now because you guys are not in the same climate.
So, besides all that, do you think like the mechanics class and like home ec and stuff like that, do you think it'd just be like obsolete because of social media?
No. I mean, because you still need to know how to cook, don't you?
Yeah.
And you still need to be able to fix your car, because most people have a car, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but the thing is, the difference now, since they pushed the SOCs, those classes are offered after school in the RAP program.
Oh.
And they're not part of the SOCs because the SOCs are focused on a certain area. So you can always take those classes, and that's why they have the dual enrollment. So you could take like the sign language and all that stuff. Just, it's not a part of your pathway.
So Jordan, well, the district as a whole is declining in students and enrollment, but Jordan is also losing the most students out of all the other schools in the district to school choice, because we lose about 400 to Lakewood, and then we're constantly losing athletes to other schools. How do you believe that has an impact on why we're declining in classes that are offered?
Well, if you don't have the students, you wouldn't have the staff to do the classes. And as parents, like, oftentimes when you choose a high school, you and your parents make that decision together because of you like this program and you've heard this about this school. So that's why we're trying to change that. Jordan is an open place. We work with not just the student but the parents, and it's a community.
How do you think we can prevent from losing more students?
Do well in school, go to class.
Get the school wrap up.
Well, I mean, rep your school. I mean, not down your school. A lot of kids are like, oh, Jordan. Oh, but Jordan is a good school. So it's no reason. Jordan has everything plus more that the other schools have.
Yeah, a lot of people say that Jordan is a bad school because of all the fights and all, like.
But the other schools have it too.
Yeah, and I was talking to one of my teachers, and he said that it's actually gotten way better than how it was like 20 years ago.
Yeah,
like,
when I was here.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the rep that the schools accumulated, like way back in the day when it was actually like a problem, has kind of persisted and it's never really gone down. Do you think that that the students should try and help the students should get more involved and rep the school and try to get our school rep up again?
Well, because when you decide a school, it's parents go off, and the kids go off of what they've heard from their friends. So if you speak bad, then that makes others be like, oh, I don't like that school because so-and-so told me it wasn't a good school. And then parents would be like, oh, that school's not safe, so they won't want to do it. But it is safe. We have campus security. We have the teachers have a policy that they're following for the tardy, and they have all of these things laid out so that it's a better environment for the kids.
Do you believe that parent involvement would help, will help the school gain more students? Because if the parents are more involved and they find out that the school isn't actually as bad as they've heard, they'd want their kids to want to, enroll into the school.
Plus, it would bring the buy-in, not just that, but it would bring the buy-in from the kids. So, like, if your parent was here a lot, that would motivate you to be like, oh, I'm going to do better because my parent is right here. So it speaks more than just to the overall school, but it speaks to the fact of you. Like, you would probably love having your parent but the parents can't be as active as, say, me, because I'm a homemaker, as they would say. So it's kind of difficult. And plus, I have experience in that. So it's kind of difficult but then that's why I'm trying to use the knowledge that I have to give that to other parents so that they feel like they're just as capable as I am.
Well, to close it up, is there anything you'd like to say to the parents who watch the podcast to like motivate them to get involved with the school more?
Just walk into the school.
Just come in, say hi.
I mean, come into the school, and actually, I mean, you have to first have the desire to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So, and if you want to get involved, you start in the career center. I mean, not the career center, the parent center. And because the parent center is the resource center for parents. They have all the different information that you might need help with. I don't even know if you guys knew, like if you had problem with transportation, they offer bus passes to students for free.
So I heard of it from one student.
Yeah, because if you have trouble, and they don't require any income or anything, because they want to ensure that you're able to get to school.
So you just get a free bus pass for being a student?
In theory, yes.
And like public transportation buses?
It's the buses in Long Beach.
Yeah.
Oh, damn. Whoa. It's pretty
Can't
good.
say that word on the podcast.
Darn, that's cool.
Thank you for joining us on another episode of Panther Pod. I'm your co-host Mauricio, and this was your host Max. And we'd like to thank our special guest, Miss Chess.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for being here. You were a great guest.
Yep. You can find her in room 208 or in B21. Room 208 for parent meetings, and then also you can find her at our basketball and football games.
Pretty much anywhere on campus.
Yep.